Now that we've discussed crisis prevention techniques, let's take a look at how we might adjust these techniques to meet the needs of special populations we serve, such as children with ADHD, children on the autism spectrum, and children who have experienced trauma. ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is one of the most common childhood disorders and can continue throughout adolescence and into adulthood. Symptoms include difficulty staying focused and paying attention, difficulty controlling behavior, and hyperactivity. When working with children with ADHD, there are many strategies that you could use. For our purposes, these strategies fall into three major buckets. Those dealing with adjustments made to your interpersonal skills, those related to establishing and maintaining systems, and those relating to creating an appropriate culture for that child. The first, and likely the most obvious interpersonal strategy, is the importance of patience. By maintaining a calm and composed presence, the situation will be far less likely to escalate. Additionally, making sure to consistently look for process-based and inherent-based successes of the child, and recognizing these accomplishments with lots and lots of praise is a great strategy to follow. A process-based recognition might be looking out for the way the child stands in line or follows the rules. An inherent-based success could be that the child is sharing toys with friends or giving a compliment. Another best practice is to maintain clear and open communication between parents, school, and out-of-school time programs about strategies that work well for this particular student. If a parent has discovered a system for de-escalating their child, it could very well be adopted in your interactions with the child. One additional strategy is referencing role models and examples of famous people who have ADHD in your conversations with the child. Some examples of celebrities with ADHD are Justin Timberlake, Jamie Oliver, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Howie Mandel, Beyonce, and Pete Rose. Using these examples might demonstrate to that child that there are many other people out there with ADHD who have learned to self-regulate and have become highly successful. Moving on to systems, one helpful system in working with children with ADHD is implementing a behavior improvement plan. Many schools and districts implement these plans, and so it might be useful to check in with your child's teacher to ensure consistency in behavior management techniques. You might also work out a secret signal with that child to indicate when a behavioral change is needed. This signal should be simple and easily recognized by the child. A visual signal like holding up 3 fingers in the air, or a verbal signal such as the words code blue. The signal could work both ways, with you giving the signal to indicate that the child is exhibiting inappropriate behavior, or the child could give a signal to indicate that they are escalating and need a break. Additional techniques, such as establishing a consistent schedule and developing systems of rewards and consequences with the child, are best practices for working with children with ADHD. In order to ensure the successful implementation of these systems, it's crucial to create an environment conducive to the child's success. First, construct a quiet space with little to no distraction. Consider providing the child with a toy or other manipulative, such as a stress ball, to distract the kinesthetic part of the brain so the child can concentrate more fully. Build in plenty of short breaks between activities for the child to release their energy at an appropriate time. Additionally, since a healthy diet free of junk food has been shown to reduce the symptoms in some children, consider substituting junk food for healthy snacks. Autism spectrum disorder is characterized by deficits in social communication and social interaction, as well as by restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, and activities. Kids on the spectrum have a very wide range of needs, and the more you get to know the child, the easier it is to determine how best to support them. Support strategies for children with autism can be grouped into 2 main buckets, those related to sensory stimuli and those requiring you to meet the child where he or she is. When a child on the autism spectrum is escalating, it's important to use a firm and unwavering touch instead of a gentle touching, tickling, or rubbing. This action provides direction to that child in that stressful situation. Make sure to limit the stimuli for that child who is distressed by establishing an environment that is quiet, dark, and where no one will be attempted to touch or interact with the child. Find something that soothes the child. This could be an object, sound, song, game, emotion, or an activity. You can leverage these activities to develop self-soothing skills that become socially appropriate over time. These will allow the child to have more ownership of their behaviors. Additionally, it's important to meet the child where he or she is. Enter that child's world of play and encourage their peers and other staff members to do the same. Many children on the spectrum connect especially well with animals, so you can consider having a visiting or permanent pet come to your facility. Additionally, you could assign the child a peer or staff mentor who will always give clear, non-judgmental information about the emotional and social subtexts of each situation that the child faces. This interpreter will enable the child to better understand social situations and better interact with other students. Lastly, uncover and build on a child's interests. If a child finds art, bug collecting, or nature to be very soothing, incorporate these into the daily schedule. The last population we'll talk about today are survivors of trauma, abuse, or homelessness. So I'm going to provide you a couple of strategies, 3 main strategies, to deal with this specific subset of kids. For these kids, empowerment is absolutely essential, and also choice is really important. So it's important to lead with questions. Ask for permission before you touch these children. Ask them to try to articulate what would help them feel safe. And also ask that child if he or she is willing to trust you to do a specific and time-measured thing. This will allow that child to have expectations of when and how that task will be completed. In addition to asking for that child's trust, make sure you show that child that you are willing to trust him or her to do a specific task, and make sure it's also specific and time measured. Lastly, make sure to encourage that child to tell others and you to say no when appropriate, and praise that child for doing so. Now that we've talked about how to support these various populations, take a look at the various resources that are available to you in this section.